Welcome to BASA Connects for the week of July 18th. I'm Ernie Morris from the Business Association of San Antonio, along with my co-host, Jen Bonomo.
Hi.
Welcome back.
I know.
Yeah.
Back to another week.
Yep. Fun. We had a fun week. Getting ready for. You've been running around like crazy all day today. Getting ready for. And we'll have to talk about this later. But our bingo.
Yes.
That we're going to be doing tomorrow. You've been doing a lot to prepare for that, and that's kind of dominated the schedule this week, huh?
It really has. It's networking 101 because you get to go run in and talk to people and gather data and gather goodies and get ready and spend time. So as we were just talking about earlier, 14 stops.
There you go.
Yesterday.
And we could follow you on the social media page as well.
Everybody always asks, kind of what we do.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? You want to see what we do in a day to get ready for one event. Yeah. So here you go.
And this one is a little bit more labor intensive,
right?
Because we're gathering prizes, and golly, it's always so great to see the membership step up. When we do bingo, and we're going to benefit the VFW Hall 837.
Right.
So everybody really gets excited about that. We have several veterans in our organization. To a person, the organization supports veterans really well. They really, whenever we have a cause, and then bingo is just a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
So this is a little more labor intensive than the typical event, where we're giving away, we're doing some prizes, and we're having some snacks, and we're networking and that kind of thing. This one's going to be great fun.
Yes, so, networking family style.
Really, no kidding, and that's another great point. As we'll be fortunate enough to see a lot of folks with some kids there, in some cases some parents. So that's always neat to be able to meet the families of some of our members.
Absolutely, it's always a good time.
Anyway, so we got that to look forward to, and then we were also out at the Smash and Crab this week.
We were the one at Alamo Ranch.
Yeah.
With our South to West chapter.
Yeah. How
fun. And we weren't mud bugging. We were shrimping.
No. And the shrimp were good. I didn't want to get too carried away talking about the food, but those shrimp were outstanding. I'm telling you, I ate a bunch of those shrimp.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Those were great, and we had a good group, and we were able to really set it up in a way where we could move around a little bit.
Right.
So that was important, and we had some new faces as well. So
isn't that exciting?
Yes.
I love when I see, people that we typically don't see. And, now that we've added these additional chapters and done things a little bit different, that community is coming out and, showing some love. So it's really exciting to see.
Right. And that's, again, like you said, as we get to South by West and we start expanding to the West more so than we have before, new place, kind of unfamiliar maybe to some, but they're supporting it and getting out there, and it's really been a neat thing to see. And this week was a lot of fun.
It really was. And something too, in my journey yesterday of driving around and picking stuff up, I had a conversation with one of our current members who was telling me how, through the past year or so, they've had to pivot on how they execute some things, and they've had to go to smaller groups, and they've had to do different things in order to be successful within their community and within their business. And I was explaining to her, we're kind of doing the same thing because, our chapters, we used to do these big glamorous 80-person networking events, and we have seen so much more success as we've dummied it down into smaller groups, because they are able to network and visit and not have to worry about that next one-on-one, because the work is actually getting done at that location at that time with the mixer. And she was explaining, she goes, sometimes everybody thinks that volume is more. And she goes, it's keeping that person day after day after day after day compared to, that one hit. So I thought, wow, that's kind of interesting when you hear a business having to do the same thing. So not that we're not a business, but, just a little bit different. So,
people sticking around afterwards too,
oh,
which is always nice to see.
Absolutely. We closed at our mixer was over at 7, and you and I walked out at 8:45.
Yeah, I was like,
I loved it.
It's time for these people to get out of
here. I know. The restaurant closed at 9. I'm sure they really wanted us to go.
Well, speaking of the restaurant, they really did a great job.
Oh, they were awesome.
We've been at Smash and Crab a couple of times now. That was our first time at the Alamo Ranch, which is, I believe, their newest location.
Yeah.
And the service was outstanding.
Oh, yeah.
It
Rain.
really was.
Yes, her name was Rain. She was awesome. Go see her.
Stood out.
She definitely stood out.
Very much stood out. So,
and to be able to handle a group of us. Woo.
Right. That
alone is a challenge.
Yeah, no kidding.
Our knees are all over the place.
Yeah. And she did a good job of anticipating, and we were really very fortunate. So much thanks to Smash a Crab and Rain over there the other night, because that was a good event, and they had a lot to do with that.
They really did.
So
awesome.
There we go. Want to know what's going on this week?
I would love to know. What do we got?
On Wednesday, July the 20th, the Northwest Chamber is having their monthly luncheon. That's the Courtyard by Marriott out by SeaWorld.
Oh, nice.
11:30 to 1. You can go to their website to sign up for that.
Okay.
And let's see, also on Wednesday, July the 20th, in the evening, the Helotes Chamber's having the happy hour mixer at Stetson Dance Hall. It's at 11881 Bandera Road.
Very cool.
So yeah, looking forward to that one as well.
Yeah, definitely. That's what Bandera and 1604. Right
Okay.
There. Yeah, it's right there.
Okay.
Can't go wrong with
Good.
it.
I'm glad you were able to point that out too.
For those who don't know, it's the old Cooter Browns.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, that's good. That's good because just right off the highway, you don't get into the stoplights and the traffic.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
Okay. And on Thursday, July the 21st, Boost Bernie Business Networking event is happening out in Bernie. That's hosted by Bernie Radio.
Interesting.
It's from 4 to 6. It's at the Grindhouse Training Facility, which is at 645 South School Street in Bernie. So, good chance if you're doing business out in the Bernie area, good chance to get out there and network and meet some folks.
With the BBB.
There you go.
Got it.
And speaking on Wednesday, July the 27th, we have our BASA breakfast coming up, and that's at First Watch on Sonterra. So
it is.
We've got that to look forward to as well. They always do a nice job for us.
Well, and I'm going to go ahead and throw in an extra little plug just because I have to.
Okay. Do it.
On July 22nd, out at a new place off 46 called That Place on Blanco. One of our members, El Jefe's Pantry, is going to be out there featuring samples and also her menu.
Yeah.
So that's kind of exciting.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I remember one of these events off the top of my head, but good networking, great music. I mean, it's supposed to be a really, really pretty cool time. So anyone who can get out there on the 22nd, I'm sure they'd appreciate it.
Come find me because I'm going to go out there. I'm going to go out there and she's going to put me to work.
There you go. See?
So, yeah.
BASA at its best.
Well, actually, it really is BASA at its best because a lot of our members will be out there as well. And it's a member supporting another member, which is always something that is good to see. And with her starting that food truck not long ago, and being able to showcase. I've seen the menu for this one too.
I know. Yeah, I saw exciting. It too. I'm really sad I'm going to miss it, but holy cow. Yeah. It sounds like it's going to be a great time. So might be fun. Felt like I just needed to throw a little plug in there.
She'll also be catering our bingo. So
that's true.
I'm going to be fed well.
Yes, you are. This week is going to be a good week for you.
Yeah, it absolutely will. So
until next photos.
Yeah, well,
no doubt.
Yeah, I'm like a dog. You keep feed me, I'll keep coming back.
There you go.
So, there we have
There we go. So if you get a chance, head on out there.
Okay. All right. So, and continuing with our theme, which is talking about networking in different industries and that kind of thing, and the question, of course, led to this as well. Last week we talked about banking. The week before that, we talked about restaurants. And this week we're going to talk about real estate.
Ooh.
Because you see a lot of real estate agents that come out and network. And any networking group you have, you're going to see real estate people out there. If you join a BNI and you're you're in the real estate industry, you may have a hard time finding a seat at the table because every BNI group, it seems like, has a realtor there. So you either got to wait for one to open up or you got to find a new one. But along those lines, their business, again, is different in terms of networking. So we talked about the other two. What would you say to a realtor who's joining a networking group? What advice would you give to them?
Wow. I think it really kind of depends on what level you're at as far as the timeline goes. Are you just got my license? and is trying to figure it out, or are you, I've been doing this for 30 years.
Okay.
So I think that's the first question.
Okay.
Because I think you have to hustle a little differently when you're the new guy compared to somebody who's been in there.
Elaborate on that. How so? How would you do it differently?
Nobody knows that you're that guy.
Right.
So you've got to kind of be everywhere to let
Okay.
people know, because, you don't buy a house every day.
Right.
So just like, we talk about with certain industries, it's a matter of keeping your name out there. So when people are ready, they know who to call.
Right.
So if your name hasn't even been in the pot anywhere,
Right.
selling, buying, doing whatever, then, I would say you need to go and try every type of networking opportunity to see where you fit.
Right.
Because your style is different than my style, is different than Nick's style, so you've got to kind of see what group makes the most sense, more structured, more visible. Do I need to go here? So getting your name out there and keeping it out there is going to be one thing. If you've been in it 30, 40 years, you can be a little more strategic, hey, I really like working this neighborhood, or I really like working that neighborhood, or I've had more successes over here. So you may look at a group that's more targeted and zoned in those areas.
Right.
And then the way you build your relationship. Social media is huge too. Get your face in those pictures when you're at those networking events, and make sure that people are seeing you out and about, and that you're that person to connect to when that opportunity comes. The other part of it too, you got to decide too, is this my career, or is this just something fun that I do on the side just to have a little extra money? Because we've seen that and encountered that. So, do I want to be that person, that's out there all the time, and it's my job and it's paying the bills, or is it, this is kind of the, once in a while I sell a home to help my friends, or just keep myself relevant and keep my license going. So, again, to me, it's just one of those categories. You've got to be out there all the time.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, to your point, I would recommend that even if someone is doing this as a, I don't know whether side gig is the correct term, or maybe as a second family income, if possible, I'd still recommend that you get out there and network.
Of
because,
course.
I mean, how is it? Because if that's the case, you're obviously not going to be doing a lot of direct mail or a lot of marketing campaigns that way. So let's get out there and do the grassroots thing and make some more friends, build some trust with people. Because again, this is another one of those industries that we talk about where they've really got to trust you.
Oh, no doubt.
So this is one of those things where you want to build personal relationships. It's almost like you go into a networking event, just make sure everyone has your business card and knows what you do.
Right. Right.
I don't know that you can really differentiate yourself that much at a networking event. I may be wrong. I'm not a realtor, but I think that the important thing is that you create a lot of name recognition, and the repetition part of it is going to be very, very important, because you've got to figure that whenever you go to an event, there are going to be several other people there that do the same thing that you do. So you really need to build those relationships, set up those one-on-one meetings.
Right.
And this is another one of those industries where I would walk in there thinking, I've got a lot of contacts. What can I do to help the membership of this organization?
Agree.
And let me put myself out there first, and let me help you. And then at some point you'll help me, because this is definitely a long-term game in this type of profession. But if you sell a house a year off of your networking group, it pays for it, 20 times over.
More, yeah.
So that's one of the things that discourages me from time to time is when we'll have a realtor join up and not show up first, and then say, well, this isn't really my thing. Well, you just got to be there all the time. You really do, because the people that are there, the other realtors that are there, generally that profession, they're going to have pretty good personalities,
right? Right,
and they're going to ingrain themselves within an organization fairly well, and you need to be able to do the same thing.
Well, and something you mentioned earlier too, and this is what makes you stand out, And I saw one of the realtors I thought was really kind of neat. She put her business contact on there, but then she would do like the Fiesta schedule on it, and that was something she would pass out, and it was a magnet.
Yeah. And
then I saw another one where she did the rodeo schedule, and then somebody did just a regular calendar.
Right.
So those are things that people are going to hold on to and has your contact information on. and keeps you, your name going,
Right.
or sponsoring those little bit of events or setting up that table at an event
Yeah.
or, just being present.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's really what it boils down to because again, you never know when somebody's going to sell.
Right.
You just
right.
don't.
And it's got to be repetitive.
Yeah.
You've got to stay top of mind with people. And I would recommend being as many different groups as possible. And then finding the ones that worked for you.
Yeah.
And just based on personality type, like you said, we always talk about ours a little bit different. We're a little more laid back, less structured. But I would join a BNI group. Go to chamber meetings, visit all sorts of different things. Go to as many ribbon cuttings as you possibly can.
Definitely the ribbon cuttings.
Yeah. But it's one of those. It's one of those hustle jobs, very much. And if you've been doing it for the last 3 years or the past 5 years, you've made a lot of money in the last 2.
Oh, no doubt.
And if you've been out there hustling, so that's a big part of it.
Well, and you're right. It's and that's the other thing. It's an industry that's up and down.
Yeah.
So you've got to be on your game because you don't know.
Right.
And right now, the inventory was amazing. And so there was so many opportunities and so many people became realtors because of it. Now it's starting to kind of inventory is limited and you're not as able to sell as much. So it's even more crucial to be out there. So when people are ready to go, then they're ready.
Right. Well, and
either side of the scope to list it or to sell it.
Yeah. Now, and to me, I remember talking to one of our realtors about a year ago, and I was like, it just feels like if you got a listing, it's like printing money
right
now. And if you had those contacts, I'm selling my house. That's a quick phone call.
Oh yeah.
And the battle for listings is pretty intense right now. So the more people and the more people that trust you, the better off you're going to be.
Well, and something too for a realtor is you need to network so you build your referrals. Because, you may list, but then they need to paint. So who are you calling?
Yeah.
They need to get an inspection.
Great point.
Who are you calling?
Yeah.
They need a plumber. Who are you calling? Because these are things you have to do before you get it listed and sold. So it goes even above and beyond just having your name out there so that it gets sold. It's, what are you going to do to help get it sold? You want to be that referral base for that family or that person that is selling their home or buying.
Right.
So, networking is going to be huge for you in that arena as well.
It very much so. And that's a great point. A realtor a couple of years back that I worked with, every time he sold a home, he sent a list of vendors. This is who I recommend I've worked with for an alarm system, for, landscaping,
for awesome.
Like you said, plumbers, AC, that sort of thing. And so anytime anybody bought a home, they got that from him.
Right.
So that was really a good idea because again, you want them to refer their friends. That's going to be the best way for you to build your network is like that.
Absolutely.
So if that happens, they're going to be buying or selling again. You're really digging in deep with that particular client. So that's a big part of it too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it goes beyond the listing.
Yeah,
There's so many more opportunities for you. Sure.
Absolutely it does. So hopefully we covered that pretty extensively, and that kind of leads us into the question this week.
Yes.
Again, the question and the topic are kind of one and the same here. But we were talking to, I think you had this question from a realtor. If with the market being the way it is networking really that important anymore?
Oh, I know. Isn't that the craziest question? Yes, we just told you it is. It is.
We answered the question before we asked it.
We really did. Yeah. It's kind of funny how that works. But yes, it's probably even more important because they're not the low-hanging fruit anymore.
Right.
So you got to network and stay relevant,
right.
And have your name out there to be an option.
Right.
And if you're not an option and you're at home staying in because it's hot out, well, guess what? There's a realtor that's at that event. Like you said, there's quite a few that go on any given day.
Right.
And something too, and we kind of touched on this in more than one industry, is real estate is a trust. I have to trust you to sell my home. So a face-to-face networking is so much more relevant to you because they get to see your face. They get to see the sincerity. It's not just over the phone where, is this a a call. They really get to know you as an individual to be able to say, I feel comfortable with this person in my home to sell my home.
Right.
Or to purchase the home for me or negotiate for me or whatever the case scenario is. So staying in front and not just a phone call or an email or a text, but actually face to face, I think really makes a big difference.
Oh, I think very much so. I think the other thing, I wouldn't, not only do you need to network and maybe, like you said, even more, but I would get in with the networking organizations, serve on committees, do those sorts of things, because, when we have people who are serving on our committees, they're responsible for calling and getting in touch with the membership. So that just, that just gets you in with the membership and they hear your name and you come up, you again, maintain top of mind.
Right.
Because it's one thing to be in an organization. It's, how do you stand out in the organization?
Exactly.
So I'd jump on committees. I'd look for an opportunity to, when we, to be an expert on your subject, to answer questions, to do presentations, those sorts of things. I would look for every opportunity that I could come up with to put myself front and center anytime I was at an event.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
So.
This is another industry where you really need to, because a lot of times you have your elevator speech, right?
Oh,
when you
yeah.
go to a networking event. You need to work on it if you're a realtor.
Yeah.
You really need to make yourself stand out. So,
I agree.
So work on your elevator speech. Make that as second nature as you possibly can.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
No doubt there. I totally agree on that one too. Yeah. Well, there you go. Boy, that's an interesting category for sure.
It really is. And it's really, it causes us to think when we're talking about different industries and how they network, and this brainstorming thing, it helps me to look at things from a lot of times our members' perspective, just because I have to think about their industry a little bit more.
Yeah.
So that's been I like this.
I agree.
This is good.
And I have to admit, I have to apologize for my attire as I'm looking at myself and my hairdo going on in here. I have been running around like a lunatic today too, and was out in the sun at a football camp that I thought was just amazing. I have to share that.
Yeah, do share that, because we were talking about what we were doing this week. Yeah, we should have gotten to that earlier.
We should have, and I'm really horrible at that. But they did a camp out at Clemens High School. It was from 8 to 11, kids out there. NFL players were out there. Some of the local UTSA players were out there too. I got to meet with Frank and Rashad, who are going to be taking on, the Roadrunners, taking them to hopefully the next level, this next season. But wow, watching them interact with these kids and so many cool opportunities. I'm sure we'll talk about it as we progress with them, but they're just amazing group of football players that have come through the program through Clemens or, Judson or something to that effect, and are giving back to the community. Yeah. So exciting to just, I don't know.
Yeah. And
I look like a train wreck because of it. I was out on a football field this morning. Sorry guys. This is what you get.
Did you catch any passes? I mean, did you run some sprints with them? Or
no, you don't want me doing that. Okay. I did throw the ball once, had a nice spiral.
Really?
And if I didn't, that little 8-year-old didn't know any better. No, I'm just kidding. But
so these were the younger kids.
Yeah, these were, to my understanding, was 6 to high school level.
Oh, wow.
6 to 15. Okay. So that's high school, early high school.
Yeah.
But it was just awesome to watch them with these coaches and the energy the coaches had, because they're, in my opinion, because I'm older, they're young guys too.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just really, really cool. I'll put some photos up on BASA Connects today so you can kind of see some of the folks I got to meet and some of the kids out there. But yeah, it was a really good time. Yeah.
And thanks for them volunteering, because at that age, especially the little ones, well, maybe as you get a little more cynical, I guess, as you get towards high school, and some of us do.
Right.
But the little ones, to meet a professional football player, a college football player, a college football coach, you got bragging rights when you go back to school.
Oh, very true.
That's really a neat thing.
Well,
so thanks to them.
Oh, no doubt. And I will tell you this, that was really neat. And again, I'll post the pictures because I don't want to give all the secrets out. Yeah. But there was one particular NFL player that was there, and I was in awe. Because you never know when they get to that level, like where their head is and what they're doing and where they're at. But I'm going to tell you, I watched him stop and take pictures, not just with the kids, but with the families. I watched him sign cleats. I watched him sign T-shirts, not a smile on his face, a high five, bump, fist bump, whatever. Just a great guy. And you could just tell how genuine it was.
Yeah.
And it was really cool because his high school coach happened to be there and came and told me, he goes, what you see right there is what he's always been.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was really cool.
That's
and what a great compliment from the coach. So again, check out our Facebook page and you'll see who some of the people were I got to bump elbows with.
Yeah, proud football tradition in that part of town too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, it's Texas football. Let's be honest, it's everywhere. But yes,
you're
definitely.
talking the Judson, Steele, Clemens area.
Yeah.
I mean, they can play.
Oh,
so,
there's no doubt. No doubt. I'm very excited about it. So more to come on that too.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Good deal. Well, thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely.
And I think that'll about wrap it up for us this week.
I think so. What do you suggest?
Wait, if they were to want to reach out to us, how would they get in touch with us?
They can email us. Or they could call us at 210-549-7190.
Wow, you got it, because you were making fun of me last week, so I was going to throw that at you, and I thought you were going to. Didn't we have a little back and forth last week about what I said?
We did. I lost a wager, and I got to take y'all to breakfast. I'll own it.
Okay.
I'll own it.
Okay.
I have no problem.
So I was right?
I'm not going to say you were right. I said I have to take y'all to breakfast.
We have it on tape.
Well, Nick knows better than to post something like that.
I know he did, but we
so
got the tape.
I don't believe that it's on tape. However,
we showed you the tape.
I apparently have to buy breakfast.
You sat here and listened to the tape.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I just know I have to buy breakfast.
All right.
I'm not owning it.
Wrong. Okay.
That's what he feels.
All right. So good job with the phone number, though. You redeemed yourself with that.
I did.
Because I was real proud of myself. I had it memorized this week.
You did.
210-549-7190. I didn't even look down.
That's very good. Say it again.
210-549-7190. Give us a call. We want to come out to one of your events and talk about it here on BASA Connects. So until next week, have an eventful week.